Hey, I'm ncjrrrevrequests, remember booted because I need reassurance I'm not the only one, eh? The cinematic universe.
The hottest trend in Hollywood right now started way back almost 10 years ago by Marvel Studios with their amazing idea for this type of film series.
Basically, it's a bunch of standalone movies that can be on their own, but are all in the same universe, that all come together in a big ensemble film years later.
This has been an amazing financial and relevancy revival move from Disney and Marvel, which has at this time grossed over $4.5 billion at the box office and has reached critical and commercial acclaim worldwide.
So as is customary in Hollywood, everybody and their grandmothers has tried to jump on this trend, with some obvious additions like the DC Cinematic Universe from Warner Brothers to compete with Marvel, and then you have the desperate and most random ideas as brought to you by Universal and their attempt at a monsters universe.
Coined the Dark Universe, this will have all of Universal's classic monsters from years past back together on the big screen. They have hit a rocky start with the first movie of this, Dracula Untold, which, according to them and everyone else in the world, doesn't exist.
What the fuck was all that about, you must be wondering? Well, their newest movie, or their first movie, coming out, which should be their flagship to lead this cinematic universe into a direction that they would prefer, is coming out soon. A reboot of The Mummy. This movie looks like it's going to be a steaming pile of shit. So, in honor of that, we are going to be paying homage and honor to the movie it is rebooting, The Mummy. Wait, what? No, not that hack film. Fuck that. We're talking about the best movie to come out of 1999. The movie starring my homegrown Canadian boy, Brendan Fraser, The Mummy.
This movie is all about action, romance, curses, and CGI that really shows its timestamp. This is one of the first live-action movies I ever saw as a kid, and it holds a special place in my heart for that. And it also stars one of my favorite Canadian actors of all time. But that doesn't translate it to being a good movie. It was met with poor reception by critics and has become a cult film over the years. So, is there real enjoyment to be had, and is it actually a good movie, or am I just hoping this is better than Brendan Fraser's later films he's participated in?
So in order to be as non-biased as possible, to contradict any good moments from this movie, I will be playing a clip of a really bad movie that Brendan Fraser has been in lately. And there's a lot. Let's try it out. Roll a clip. Why? Because I like to kill my childhood. So, in light of that, everyone, grab your explorer hats, grab your equipment, and let's get ready to dust off and rate this tomb of a movie. This is The Mummy.
So we start our movie in CGI-ept when we meet our soon-to-be villain, the High Priest Imhotep.
And I say to be because, well, he actually has a pretty legit reason for becoming a villain.
He was in a love affair with his boss's mistress, Anaxinamun.
But for their love, they were willing to risk life itself.
Aww, that's really romantic. Too bad they had to kill the pharaoh for it. Anuk says for him to leave as he is the only one who can resurrect her. Okay, so she commits Egyptian seppuku as we cut to Imhotep with her stolen corpse as they head to the city of the dead, Hamunaptra. The ritual is going pretty swell until...
The pharaoh's body.
God damn it, why do people in movies go for the dramatic stab? Like, seriously, you would have had it done already if you just stabbed her with, like... Wait a minute. Who are you stabbing again? The only person on that table was your lady friend, and you just brought her back to life. I mean... Anyway.
With the Magi intervening, the ritual is ruined. Imhotep's priests are sentenced to be mummified alive, while he is sentenced to the ancient Egyptian curse, the Hamdai, a punishment where he's buried alive with flesh-eating beetles. His curse will keep him relatively alive for all eternity as they feel the pain of death and being eaten alive forever. But there is a large, super glaring, holy fuck, what were they thinking problem with this curse. Tell him, Meredith.
The Magi would never allow him to be released, for he would arise a walking disease, a plague upon mankind, an unholy flesh-eater with the strength of ages, power over the sands, and the glory of invincibility.
Why would you even let this happen? I mean, this is the equivalent of sending somebody to prison and then saying, hey, by the way, if you make it out of here somehow, you have the ability to nuke the entire world. Egyptian geniuses, my ass.
We transition a millennia later to 1923 in hamunaptra, where we see the French legionnaire defending it against these guys.
You just got promoted.
Well, I mean, they are the French Legion, of course.
We then see our star of the film, Brendan Fraser, playing Rick O'Connell. And truth be told, I just love that name. It's so badass. I say it's along the lines of John McClane, Snake Plissken, and John Rambo. We also see his cowardly, soon-to-be nemesis Benny, as he bails on him as we see Rick take on the army.
Shit, that scene is so cool! Okay, let the torture begin.
Are you ready? Ha! Ah! Very good indeed, the hopping foot defense. Ah! Ah! Very good, the other foot hopping defense. Wonderful.
So after this, he gets cornered by the Horsemen, but they are startled off by Sam Raimi's Spider-Man as O'Connell escapes into the desert. We then jump to 1926, where we meet Rachel Weisz playing our next character, Evelyn, the sexy, silly, clumsy librarian.
Now that character description sounds like something I took out of a low-budget porno, but no, there was something completely different than what you would expect to be in a low-budget porno. She's an aspiring Egyptologist.
So after making a mess of the library, Scooby-Doo style, she hears a noise and investigates.
Tales from the Crypt.
Lastly, we meet Evelyn's brother Jonathan, as he has
Found something.
I think you found something. It's hamunaptra.
Oh, come on, everybody knows this story.
They tell the story, but the curator isn't buying it, and
Oh my goodness! Look at that!
Kids, you've burnt off a part of the lost city.
It's for the best, I'm sure.
so with the map burnt, Jonathan reveals that he stole the box from O'Connell, who happens to be in prison. So they go to ask him about the box.
You know, I know you.
No. I've just got one of those faces.
Damn it.
What'd you have for breakfast?
What even was that? Anyway.
He's going to be hanged, so in order to save his life... well, too late. He's he's still alive? Okay, you just hang in there while they bargain.
He knows the location to hamunaptra. And if you cut him down, we will give you 10%.
50%.
20.
40.
30.
25.
Deal.
The next day, the siblings are getting ready to embark on their adventure, as Evelyn expresses her opinions about Rick.
Filthy, rude, a complete scoundrel. I don't like him one bit.
Anyone I know?
Oh. Hello?
Ah yeah, that's my main man Brendan, keeping the tradition of extremely talented and handsome Canadian actors. I bet you didn't even know half of these actors were Canadian. Most of your famous actors are Canadian. Yes, we rule the world.
That night, we see the Magi rowing towards the ferry.
Quit playing with your glasses and cut the deck, would you, Burns?
Well, without my glasses, I can't see the deck to cut it.
Well, it's nice to see they're establishing the Velma of the group. Mark my words.
So at this table, there are a bunch of Americans headed to Hamunaptra as well, which makes O'Connell suspicious. He then goes to talk to Evelyn, where they talk about Egyptian things, bonding over that, but then she asks him about the kiss.
When I was about to be hanged, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
She storms off when Rick catches an eavesdropper, and wouldn't you know it, it's Benny. He's leading the American party to Hamunaptra.
You always did have more balls than brains.
Yeah. Goodbye, Benny.
God damn this movie for its enjoyment. God damn it, show the clip.
You will obey every order without question. Grunt.
How do you find these movies, Brendan? Anyway.
So Evelyn is totally distracted while thinking over that kiss with Rick.
Yeah!
Sorry, it's driving me crazy. I had to do it sooner or later.
Hook guy is there. Hook guy is there. Hook guy is there. Hook guy is there. Hey look, Hook guy is there. So Rick bursts in and kicks into badass mode once again.
If there's a place you gotta go, I'm the one you need to know.
I'm the map. It's all up here.
So the boat is falling apart as we see Rick going all wick, if you know what I mean.
This is going to be a long review.
She speaks Yeti?
Well, with everything they had gone, except for Rick's beautiful guns, they head into town to restock as they journey to Hamunaptra. The two groups meet up at the entrance to Hamunaptra.
Remember our bet, O'Connell. First one to the city. 500 cash bucks.
Alright folks, you know the stakes. 500 bucks cash. 500 bucks cash. We got the Ricktatorship versus the Benny bad guys. Place your bets, place your bets. We're about to be shown the way.
Look at that. Hamunaptra. Here we go again.
Oh, and off they go! Oh, we got some dirty play there for Benny against Rick.
So long, Benny.
Oh, and there he goes under the camel, ladies and gentlemen. There he goes. Benny's out of the race. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it appears they have turned up the chemistry, and yes. Oh, and off Evelyn goes, off she goes, and she wins, ladies and gentlemen. She wins. Oh, the Ricktatorship has won this race. Thank you for coming in, ladies and gentlemen, for the annual camel horse race desert thing. Alright, can we get out of here? Okay, I'm out of here. I'm out. I'm done.
So the teams start digging, looking for an entrance into the city as Rick tries to get with Evelyn.
So, what are these old mirrors for?
Ancient mirrors.
So they enter the crypt. As they go through, they hear strange sounds. But it's just the other group, as they have a bit of a standoff over who gets to excavate the statue. So our heroes take a bit of a tactical retreat to dig underneath the statue.
We should come up right between his legs.
Where'd our smelly little friend get, huh?
So the warden, like an idiot, goes off into an ancient Egyptian city as he discovers some... Blue gold. Really? Blue gold? Either he's the biggest idiot ever, or the writers don't know the existence of any other precious metals beside gold. So the American group isn't having the best of luck with their dig as they stumble across a booby-trapped acid sprayer. Lower down, our trio is talking about mummification process as they are met with a comedically timed sarcophagus. We then come back to our smelly little friend, as one of the blue gold beetles is more than it appears to be, which leads to a pretty disturbing but amazing visual scene. Each group huddles in for the night as our trio discusses their situation.
Maybe this place really is cursed.
But before you can say insert clever pun here, the Magi attack the camp. after some cool back and forth, Rick takes on air death.
We will shed no more blood. Leave this place or die. You have one day.
So after that, O'Connell and Evie bond over fighting practice, booze, and origin stories. The best kind of bonding, if I do say so myself. The next day, the American group takes out a sacred chest of Imhotep and a Nox in the Moon, which blatantly has a curse note written on it, which they read that tells them not to open the chest.
Are you blind? I put a note right on the cover. Can't you read?
Well, they open it and they discover the Book of the Dead and some organ jars. While our trio opens up the sarcophagus to reveal a jump scare and a
Juicy
mummy. So while all our cast are talking around the fires, Evie talks about their mummy friend's situation.
Our friend suffered the hum die.
That night, however, she decides to borrow the Book of the Dead from the Egyptologist and go through with opening it with the key.
It's just a book. No harm ever came from reading a book.
It's a book. I didn't think reading it would unleash goblin fury, okay?
Wow, this movie's really making me acknowledge the Spiderwick Chronicles. Can't wait to review that one.
Anyway, she reads the book, and suffice to say...
Shit just got real.
Well, folks, the plays are here, so let's count them down. First up, the storm of locusts, as they chase our heroes inside the temple. As the panic ensues, guess what happens to gender-bended Velma here?
Hey, my glasses! I can't see without them!
So we get an actually stressful scene where he is getting spooked by the mummy. Our trio is chased out of the temple by a swarm of scarabs, only to have Evie dropped back into the temple via Scooby-Doo wall. Inside, Evelyn happens across Mr. Burns, who is a sight for sore eyes. I guess you could say that again. But that's the least of her troubles, as she is greeted by the mummy. He backs her into a corner, but then refers to her as a Nox in the Moon. But before we have time to process any of this, the gang rushes in.
Oh, fuck you, let me have this one.
So they make it outside and they meet up with the Magi. Benny wasn't so lucky to have escaped with the rest of them, as he fumbles about the tomb when he stumbles into Old Juicy, as he does the only thing he can think of: pray to every god in the hopes of being saved. Well, he finds the one that worked and is offered a job as his slave. So back in Cairo, Rick and Eve are debating over whether to save the world or not.
Kind of a stupid discussion to have, but we do get this.
We have to do something.
So in the bar we meet Rick's friend Winston the pilot. Trust me, he is important later. We then cut to Burns talking with...
Drinks all around, everybody!
Good luck, boys.
Hey, watch this. Hey guys, I pissed in the drinks! Just kidding.
It's not his piss, Bats!
That is only slightly better.
So we can now check Water to Blood Plague off our list. Off goes Rick to find Evie as well, as the sky starts to rain fire and brimstone, thus checking off another plague. They hear a roar and go to investigate to find that Burns has been feeling a little drained lately, and Imhotep is looking a lot more rejuvenated.
It's a classic!
So they go to see the curator for answers, as he just happens to be in cahoots with the Magi. They realize that Imhotep is planning on using Evie to resurrect Anukht, so they have to think of a plan as we get our next plague.
Darkness throughout the land of Egypt.
Evie gets locked in a room with the two Americans watching over her, so John and Rick go to bring back the Egyptologist at his house, as they find Benny there doing some light spring cleaning, before throwing him a seat to defend himself against their aggressive negotiations. But fortunately, the Egyptologist is just outside. Unfortunately, he's dead.
Check lice and flies off your plagues list, as we got this really badass shot.
We then cut to Mr. Henderson as he's practicing for his edition of McCree, when Imhotep comes in and wall shadows him to death, and then proceeds to enter the room of Evie in the most time-taking way possible, as he sneaks a kiss before Rick busts in.
Okay, everybody, say it together now.
You alright?
Well, nothing compared to the cat!
So they hightail it to the museum to learn more about the books because, well, let's let Evie tell us.
And I'm thinking that if the Black Book can bring dead people to life, then
maybe the Gold Book can kill him.
But unfortunately that will have to be interrupted by an army of boil and sore-plagued slaves of Imhotep. And that's the last plague. So with her ingenious Egyptian historian skills that even Nathan Drake would be jealous of, she determines that the Book of Ra is at the statue of Horus in Hamunaptra. They all jump in the car and start to make their way out of there, but the horde of people latch onto the car and drag the last of the Americans off for Imhotep to consume. Our heroes crash and get cornered by the horde. With no choice at the moment, Evie hands herself over to Imhotep as he orders his followers to kill the rest. They make their escape into the sewer while the curator very unnecessarily sacrifices himself. The next day, our new trio heads out to the airfields to find Winston to convince him to help them out.
Is it dangerous?
Well, you probably won't live through it.
Why, Joe? Do you really think so?
So they fly out to Hamunaptra with the most ridiculous imagery of Jonathan and Eridas strapped to the wings of the plane. They get to the desert the same time Imhotep and the others do, and is customary from him, he makes a giant sand wave face of himself and tries to chase him down.
And how does Rick react?
He tries to outscream him again and then proceeds to shoot him again. So of course the plane gets taken down and everyone lives except the guy who wanted to die. Inside, Imhotep is setting up for the ritual when he overhears Rick and company in the tomb, as he sends his minions to kill them.
And honestly, from this point on, the movie is nothing but an absolute fucking blast.
Who the hell are these guys?
Priests. Imhotep's priests.
All right then.
Time to close the door.
Oh man, that was a great scene. It's been a while. Bring on the punishment.
It's a winning cast, an ensemble, new territory professionally.
So Benny seems to be getting his fair share of the treasure, cause, well, he'll definitely be allowed to use it, as the heroes find the gold book of Amun-Ra as they crash the ritual. Jonathan distracts Imhotep from the table so we can see Rick bring down another kick-assing.
Can I just say, the music in this movie is absolutely incredible. From the action scenes music in this set piece, and then the main theme at the end of the movie, which I'll get to then. But it's so wonderful.
Mummies.
So after a brutal beatdown of these minions, Jonathan goes and messes things up by awakening these ancient Egyptian warriors, and Evie gets taken aside by the reanimated corpse of a Noxunamun. So Rick is left to deal with these guys, until John finishes the inscription on the book. And of course, O'Connell uses his tried and true method of seeing his chances in a fight. So Rick is able to keep a long, badass fight with these soldiers, and Jonathan finishes the inscription just in time, and sicks them on Noxunamun. After they kill the bitch, Imhotep tries to choke a bitch, but Rick won't have none of that, so he lops off his arm. Of course, he doesn't care and tosses him away. Fortunately, this gave John the opportunity to steal the key from him to open the book. Right before he sucks out Rick, Evie reads the spell from the book, turning him mortal. Of course, he doesn't know that, and he gets a good old stab right to the belly from Rick. Finally, they have defeated the mummy, as he sinks into the pit of death and utters his famous catchphrase. Well, all seems good, but what about that pesky Benny? Well, as he was stealing the gold, he accidentally tripped the ancient Egyptian version of a self-destruct, as the whole place starts to collapse. They lose the book in a pool of water, and they leave Benny inside as it closes. He goes out in the best way possible. Our trio escapes the city, along with those lovely camels, but not without one more jump scare from our good friend Eredith, who made it out as well. We finally get a kiss between Rick and Evelyn, as they ride off into the sunset with a big bag of gold so they can live happily ever after. Until they get called back for the trilogy. As we end, we get to hear that great score by Jeremy Goldsmith, who is responsible for other amazing movies like Aliens and Gremlins and Total Recall.
And that was The Mummy. Now, if you weren't completely completely sure about how self-aware and what the creators of this movie knew what they were doing, all you have to do is watch this scene.
What's the challenge then?
Rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, and save the world.
They knew what they were doing, and that's why this movie is the shit!
This is the most non-biased I could have been, but it is just such a great movie. The humor is great, every joke hit because there wasn't that many to miss. The action was great, whether it be the gunfights, the sword fights, the horse fights, everything was done with passion and excitement. The dialogue was charmingly silly and memorable. The biggest thing I take away and my biggest gripe I always look for in the movie is the tone. To see if the movie knows what it wants to be and knows how it wants to be perceived. And this movie knew exactly what it was, and it wanted to be a fun action-adventure movie that you can never get tired of rewatching. If you haven't seen it before, I would definitely say see it, and find the adventurer in you.
Well, that was super fun to do. Let's see if I can hide from the sequels, though. But I can tell you what won't be getting a sequel anytime soon. Wait. Ah, yes. That is a beautiful imagery. I'm ncjrrrevrequests Junior. Remember, boot it because I need reassurance I'm not the only one, eh?